Welcome to the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show, a real estate investment program. Listen and learn how to use real estate to build wealth and passive income streams for you and your family. We bring you experts every day to discuss and answer your questions on everything from single-family homes all the way up to 600-plus unit apartment complexes. And now, the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show.
Welcome to the show. My name is Al Gordon, and as always, I'm working on your financial freedom. And on today's show, what we're going to do is we're going to fine-tune your imagination. Yeah, you heard me correctly. We're going to fine-tune your imagination. Now, some of you really don't use your imagination. You don't. It's something that is available to you. But for whatever reason, you either never mastered the skill of using your imagination, or you found that it really wasn't relevant to you, and therefore you don't utilize it that often. Now, some of you, man, you're on imagination overload. I mean, you use your imagination for everything. It is one of those valuable tools in your toolkit that you use to form mental images of things that are not present to your senses or not considered to be real. Yeah, you're really good at it. And everybody else, you're somewhere in between. Yeah, you are. You're somewhere in between. You use it sporadically, or you use it more than that or less than that. You're somewhere on that spectrum, right? So what does imagination have to do with investing? Well, I think it has everything to do with imagination. And I think it has everything to do with investing. I think the two things are symbiotic. I really do. And here's why. One of the things that you have to do as a real estate investor, as any investor, in whatever you invest in, okay, I'm going to take a step back, and I'm just going to tell you that the information I'm going to share with you right now is going to help you in any type of investing you're doing. Now, I think that the majority of the investing that you do is ineffective. I know this to be true. But you don't necessarily believe me. You don't necessarily believe that the statement that I just made is factual. You can't use your imagination to render a positive statement. You can't, because you can't see it. You have not been able to formulate in your mind what retirement looks like. And you notice I just jumped right from, your finances and investing to retirement. Because those two things are symbiotically linked also. What you're doing right now for investing is saving money. That's exactly what you're doing. You probably don't know what you're invested in, other than the fact that you're invested maybe in a mutual fund, or maybe you have some stocks in your stock account that your broker picked for you. But other than that, you don't really know the fundamentals of those companies. You don't really understand what those companies are doing, and you don't really understand how they make money. You also don't understand how they make you money, because all that stuff gets blended together because your financial planner said you have to be diversified. You must be diversified. So what do you look at? Well, you look at something on your phone or something on your tablet or something on your computer screen that represents all of your combined fractional shares and everything that you own. And it gives you a dollar amount, right? Yeah, that's pretty much it. So you take a look at your stock account, you go, hey, it's doing great today, or, oh, it's not doing so great today. Now, I'm not going to pick on the stock market today. I am not going to pick on the stock market because I think it's irrelevant. I really do. I don't invest in the stock market. Now, if you invest in the stock market, I hope you know what you're doing. Stock market isn't the greatest place to put your money. I think real estate is the greatest place to put your money. And this gets me back to that whole discussion of imagination. Because what I want you to be is a place where you can envision your money making you money. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Where you can envision your money making you money. Now, you might be thinking, well, I already do that, man. I've got my little app here that shows me how much money is my 401k. I'm envisioning my future. I'm watching it go up or I'm watching it go down. Yeah, yes, you are. But here's the thing about real estate. We're not terribly concerned with it going down. If real estate does go down in value, for whatever reason, we're okay with that. Yeah, you just heard a seasoned real estate investor tell you that if the real estate market starts going down, we're okay with that. Because what that indicates to us is that assets are going on sale. For whatever reason, market conditions have changed, and assets that cost more money previously can now be acquired for less money. We're not going to lose money either because we're not really focused on whether the asset value goes up or the asset value goes down. Now, we want it to go up. Don't get me wrong. We don't buy assets that we imagine will go down in value. No, we buy assets that we imagine will go up in value. And along the way, those assets are producing something called cash flow. And we use that cash flow to get us away from that job, that thing that you're currently doing, that thing where you're trading time for money for somebody else that either can't do whatever task you're doing themselves or they just don't want to do it themselves. That's why they're paying you to do it. And did you know that in the business methodology, when you're trying to figure out how much you can afford to pay an employee, there's a common multiplier out there. It's a 3-to-1 multiplier. Did you know that? That 3-to-1 multiplier says that if you make $50,000 a year in salary, that company expects that whatever you do provides a revenue stream of, say, $150,000. See, that's how they can afford to pay your salary. There are people in this country, however, that think that businesses just have a bunch of cash. There's just money everywhere. I mean, after all, we're buying their goods and services, so there's money everywhere, right? Okay. What I'm getting at is a mindset change. Yeah, I'm back on that topic, a mindset change, because I'm going to share with you my imagination. And believe it or not, I found that I have one. Stick around. Welcome back to the show. All right, so we're going to get into my brain. I know that's a very, very scary place to go, but we're going to go there anyway, so buckle up. This could be one of those e-ticket rides. Oh, yeah, you younger guys, you don't know what an e-ticket ride is. Okay, that goes back to the days when Disneyland and Disney World, you could just walk into the park. There was no general admission ticket. You could just go into the park. You could just enjoy the park. And if you wanted to get on any of the rides, any of the attractions, you bought a ticket book. And that ticket book had tickets listed A through E. A were the boring rides. E were the fun rides. Okay, so that's where it comes from. But did you also know that Disneyland, for me, represents something outstanding? It really does. It represents, to me, financial freedom. It's where I put my target when I became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited. No, okay, let's be clear here. When I became a member, my goal was not to own the Magic Kingdom or Disneyland or Disney World or any of that stuff or buy Walt Disney stock or any of that stuff. No, that wasn't my goal. But the Magic Kingdom itself, see, I just said it, the Magic Kingdom, and already in your mind, you know exactly what that looks like because that is a branded image by Walt Disney Corporation. But for me, it represents a massive goal that I set for myself. See, when I became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited almost 5 years ago, I set on a plan to get myself to a place of retirement. And retirement to me was the same feeling that I had when I was a little kid, when I actually had a chance to go to Disneyland and I got to go to the Magic Kingdom. Yeah. Do you remember experiences like that? Okay, now you may not have lived anywhere near the West Coast or the East Coast. You may have never gone to Disneyland as a kid. But isn't there something in your past that when you had the opportunity to go experience it, it was the most fantastic thing in the world? Okay, we're using your imagination now because what we're doing is we're planting an image in your mind. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to think about that image, and I want you to understand that image represents retirement to you. That's exactly what it represents. Because when you get to the place of retirement, when we teach you how to utilize passive income to wean off your W-2 job and you regain control of your life, you achieve that miraculous feeling, that feeling I didn't feel since I was like 7 years old, stepping foot onto the lands in Anaheim of Disneyland and seeing the Magic Kingdom right there in front of me. Oh, man, this was going to be a great day, thought that 7-year-old. And you know what? When that how old was I? 55, I think? I don't know, 54, whatever. It doesn't really matter at this point. When that 54 or 55-year-old, who was me, sat down with his wife, we reviewed what we were doing for our investments. We took a look at what our investments were doing as far as cash flow. We took a look at what we were doing as far as spending in our household. We had really taken a bigger control of that. Believe it or not, you can cut a lot of stuff out that you're spending, trust me, that you don't really need. You think you need, you don't really need. And at that 2-year mark, Tina and I, we figured out we were retired. Now, the game plan we laid out was the same game plan that Del Walmsley taught us when we became members of Lifestyles Unlimited. Now, Del Walmsley, he's the founder and CEO of the company. He's the guy that put all this together over 31 years ago. And when we figured that out, I had that endorphin rush that I had not felt since I was like a 7-year-old kid. Because right there in that moment, I realized I didn't have to stay working in a job that I really wasn't super happy working in. Yeah, the work was okay, but some of the other stuff, it wasn't fitting well with me. So when I realized that I didn't have to go back to work, I was elated. I was so elated. As a matter of fact, I was dying to go to work the next day, Monday, I think because we did this on a Sunday afternoon. I was dying to go back to work on Monday because I wanted to give my employer a 2-week notice. Yeah, that's what they asked for if you're going to leave, a 2-week notice. So I walked in my boss's office and I said, hey, guess what? My situation has changed and I really don't need to work in this job anymore. You've been a great boss, but everybody above you, not so much. So as a result of that, I'm going to give you my 2 weeks notice and I'm going to go do something else with my life. Now, my boss, who was really just a wonderful lady, she looked at me like I had a third eye growing out of my forehead because she knew that I was a military retiree. She knew I had a pension, but she also knew that I couldn't cut it on that pension, that pension didn't bring enough income into my household, which was why I was working for her, because that was the only way I could alleviate the cash flow nightmare that I had after I retired from the military was to go back to work. And she knew that, and I made no bones about it. Now, one of the things she did not necessarily know was that 2 years prior to me walking into her office and saying, I'm done, I'd become a member of Lifestyles Unlimited. And one of the things that they taught me when I went to the free workshop is essentially the same information I'm sharing with you right now. Now, it's in a totally different format. Okay. They actually go more in depth into how to do a mindset change. I'm just trying to get you to understand that your imagination is effective and your imagination's in play, because here's where my head was at. When I became a member and set out that plan, I had that goal in mind to retire in 5 years, and I was able to achieve it in 2 years. I was just as shocked as my wife was, because we knew we were doing well, but we just didn't know how well we were doing. We were doing much better than we thought we were. Good problem, isn't it? Okay, so in my world, I still have my imagination set on the Magic Kingdom. I still do, because the Magic Kingdom now represents something completely different in my life. When I first became a member, imagination meant getting to that place of retirement. When I achieved that, when I realized that I could step away from that job, it transitioned. It transitioned from representing ending many, many years of work, and a lot of hard work in there too. I was in the military for 27 plus years. That's not easy. And now what it represents Well, it represents anything I want. And for me, it's my lifestyle. I'm going to fill you in on some pretty brilliant imaginations. Stick around.
Now, from the files of Del Walmsley.
The world needs worker bees. If the world doesn't have that, the world will fall apart. You can see what happened during the pandemic. They gave people an opportunity to make money without working. And then they couldn't understand why people wouldn't come back to work. See, we all think that work is essential. Work isn't essential. Money is essential. And if you could find a way to have money without working, a very high percentage of us wouldn't work. I think of myself as a pessimist. I look at everything from the negative side of things. I've been that way my whole life because I was born 200-pound fat kid with Coke bottle glasses and a flat top haircut and no friends. And so I had to go out and build a life for myself that I was happy with.
Welcome back to the show. So we're talking about imagination. And for me, imagination is something that, I thought was good when I was a kid. Yeah, my parents always said, hey, use your imagination, develop your imagination. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try, but I don't really want to. It's just easier to watch TV. Did you guys ever go through that? You probably did. But here's my point. Your imagination can be very, very powerful. And for me, when I became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, one of the things that I had to do was I had to reinvigorate my imagination. I had to see myself in a place of retirement. Now, for me, that image was really the Magic Kingdom. Whether it's the Magic Kingdom at Walt Disney World, whether it's the Magic Kingdom at Disneyland, doesn't matter which kingdom. The Magic Kingdom, to me, represented something in my past when I was a young child. Probably one of the most magical experiences that I ever had was finally, at the ripe old age of 7, having the opportunity to go to Disneyland. And as I walked into Disneyland, now back in the day, Disneyland was an open theme park. Yeah, you actually had to buy tickets if you were going to ride on any of the rides. There was no pay for admission thing. No, it was completely different back then. And I remember walking into the Magic Kingdom itself and then staring down Main Street. And at the end of Main Street, there it was. And for a 7-year-old, if you wanted to go to Disneyland for the last 2 years, that's a pretty big chunk of your life, isn't it? Proportionally, it is. So when I became a member of Lifestyles Unlimited, I had to reimagine the Magic Kingdom because I wanted to feel and experience that same feeling of joy, that same feeling of elation, that same feeling of, wow, this is real. But my version ultimately represented something called retirement. Because what Tina and I started to do is we started to change everything. People would call me a Kool-Aid drinker, if you will. Okay, call me what you want. I don't care. Del Walmsley put together this plan for me. I customized the plan based on my starting point and where I was trying to get to. I laid out a 5-year plan to get myself to a place of retirement. That plan involved me changing how I did things, changing my mindset, changing my approach to investing, learning how to correctly identify the right assets to invest in so that I would get the results I was looking for. There's no magic pixie dust or anything like that. You're actually going to have to do a little bit of work, but it's not a 40-hour-a-week job. It's not even close to that. Tina and I put that plan together, and in a little over 2 years, we were sitting down doing our annual review, and we realized we had enough in the way of passive income that I didn't have to go back to that job anymore. I could actually step away from a job that was becoming a huge burden for me because it was becoming more of a drain on my mind. It was becoming more of a drain on my time. It was becoming more of a drain on everything. I was miserable. I retired from the military after 27 and a half years. I was physically retired. I didn't have a job anymore. I wasn't fired. I was retired. And they even gave me a pension that I earned. But that pension doesn't pay me enough money to support my household. That's how I found myself working again in a job that wasn't giving me the self-actualization that Maslow says I'm supposed to have. And when I found Lifestyles Unlimited, and I went to a Lifestyles Unlimited free workshop, I had one of the members explain to me, well, basically everything that I needed to know to get started. I mean, he showed me, this whole imagination thing that I'm talking about. They go into detail. It's a 6-step approach to changing how you think. Now, you might be thinking, oh, that's touchy-feely mumbo-jumbo stuff, and I'm here to tell you, no, it's not. The way you think right now is causing you harm because you've not achieved retirement in a 5-year period. You've not done that. You probably not. Now, some of you, maybe you have. I know if you're a Lifestyles Unlimited member, okay, I'm not talking to you guys. I'm talking to the people that are trying to figure this out. I'm talking to the people that have the same mindset we used to have, and I'm trying to get through to them. I'm talking about you guys, by the way. So imagine yourself retired. What does that look like? What does that look like? Now stop right there. Stop right there. Don't go to the financial planner approach to what retirement looks like. 2 70-year-old people that are professional models that look great on camera, have beautiful smiles, they dress so nicely, they are clearly massively in love with each other, they have no physical health issues they're dealing with, they are members of the country club, they're standing in front of a beautiful, not one, but 2 beautiful vehicles, and they've got a gorgeous house that magically cleans itself. Yeah. That's not retirement. That's a lie. That's an image created by man so that when they say, hey, can you imagine what retirement looks like? You just go, no, I can't, man, because I'm swimming in debt. I'm swimming in massive problems at work. I'm swimming with, problems with my family because I'm not there enough to actually do the things I'm supposed to do as a husband or a wife. Yeah, been there, done that. That's why when I imagined retirement, I really couldn't imagine what it looked like. So I went with the Magic Kingdom. The Magic Kingdom represented in me pure elation, pure joy. Arriving at Disneyland and looking down Main Street, looking at the Magic Kingdom itself. As a 7-year-old kid, I'd finally made it. That was nirvana to me. It was awesome. And you know what? When Tina and I figured out that I could quit that job, that's exactly the way I felt. That's exactly the way I felt. I can't jump up and down for joy the way I used to as a young man because my body's a little broken down, much more in the difficult category for me to do. But I retired myself. And I didn't wait for the government to tell me it was okay. Yeah, because the government's telling you right now when you can retire. All your retirement accounts, they all have poison pills in them. They do. Each one of those retirement accounts that you have, that the government says you can have, the 401k, the IRA, the 5, whatever, all that stuff, they all have a poison pill in them. You want to know what it is? It's a 10% penalty if you touch your money. Now, keep in mind, your money. If you touch your money, it's 10% penalty. And 10% doesn't go to charity. 10% doesn't go to whoever's holding your money. 10% goes to Uncle Sugar. And then he's going to take his taxes. Now, you might be having a hard time imagining what that looks like. When we come back from the break, I'm going to share the excitement of dealing with that.
Del Walmsley on how to live the lifestyle.
If you have a deal that loses 20%, you have a deal that makes and loses nothing, and you have another deal that earns 20% and another deal that earns 100%. Do you want to put $1 in each one of those? No. What you want to do is figure out which one makes 100% and put all your money there. You might diversify a little bit into the 20 percentile, profitable deal, but you don't put your money into something that earns nothing, and you don't put your money into something that loses money. You just don't do it. And they said, but you don't know what will and won't go up and down. And that's the whole point. Your financial planner is an idiot. He doesn't know what he's talking about. I do. And so I'm not going to listen to people that are stupid and put my money where stupid people put their money. Rich people put their money where rich people know it's going to make a lot of money and they can control the situation. That's the reality. Never lose money. A lot of people like that mud on the wall. If you throw enough mud on the wall, something has to stick. Maybe it does, but after you've lost 10, 20, 30, 40% of your money throwing the mud on the wall, how much does the rest of that money have to grow just to get back even? Well, if you've lost 50% of everything you earn, you have to earn 100% on that next deal to get back to even. You haven't made any money yet. You got to get back to even.
Stick around. Welcome back to the show. So imagine retirement. It's kind of hard, isn't it? It's really hard. The first thing that comes to your mind is the stuff that your financial planner said you ought to think about, right? Yeah, the $1 million house, the yacht, the cars, the perfect body, the perfect hair, the perfect teeth, no health problems. Yeah, that's retirement, right? Not for most people. No, for most people, retirement is something completely different than that image your financial planner paints in front of you. As a matter of fact, your financial planner is really in the same boat you're in. Yeah, you heard me correctly. They're trading time for money, trying to get ahead, trying to build a big bag of money for themselves so that they can get to a place in the future, start consuming that money, hope they don't die before it runs out. And they think they got the inside edge because, they went and got all those security licenses. But at the end of the day, the majority of those financial planners, they don't do anything with the trading. That's a small subgroup of people within that organization. Your financial planner is a salesman. Yeah, your financial planner is a salesman. He's selling you products. Now, he's very well qualified to do that. And just because he's a salesman doesn't make him a bad person. No. So I think effective sales are very important, especially if you have an effective product that people can use. But ironically, at Lifestyles Unlimited, I've been doing this radio show for, quite a while. And I don't think I really try and sell you on anything other than changing your mind about what you're trying to do. And Lifestyles Unlimited is well equipped to help you in that process when you decide it's time to change. But I'm not going to sit here and hard sell you. I have no interest in that. I had no interest in being hard sold. Lifestyles Unlimited, when the information was presented to me, I made an informed decision and I became a member because it was the first organization that I had visited that actually had everything kind of figured out. And not just kind of figured out, everything figured out. And it's not just the education that comes from the Lifestyles Unlimited program. The education is very important because without the education, you won't understand how to do the things that you need to do in order to get to where you're trying to get to, like, retirement in 5 years. My version of the Magic Kingdom, whatever your version is. At the end of the day, you will have an opportunity to become a member. It's that simple. You either join or you don't. It's either for you or it's not. That's kind of the way I look at it. And if you join, congratulations. But don't sit on your butt. No, become an active member. Just the act of joining doesn't get you to where you're trying to get to. No, joining opens up all the doors. It opens up all the pathways for you. It opens up the entire map to financial freedom. And that map is well organized. That map is well resourced. When you become a member, there's a lot of tools and things that are available to you so that you can do the real estate investing part as efficiently and as effectively as possible. That's what we do. We're not interested in spending 40 hours a week doing repairs on a house. No. I want to spend 40 hours a week doing what I want to do. Hanging drywall, it ain't that fun. And I'm not that good at it. Now, I can hang drywall, but I know guys that are really good at it, that are really efficient at it, that get in, get it done, and get out really quick so they don't spend a lot of time at my properties. Now, see, that's a mindset change right there. Thinking that there's somebody else that could do it better than I could. Got a little bit of an ego problem, don't you? Did we just tap that? And I'm not picking on you. I got the same problem. I do. I'm one of those guys that thinks, well, I can do this all by myself. And what I've learned is that's a dumb idea. Now, I put everything together myself. Well, okay, Tina helps me. But I don't do any of my real estate investing by myself. I don't. I have surrounded myself with a highly effective team of resource providers. Yeah, people that are much better at doing their particular skill or craft than I am. When I sit down and I actually figure out what my time is worth, it's more cost effective for me to hire them and pay them than for me to do the work. It's just that simple. It's just business. It's business acumen. That's all I'm doing. Now, one of the things I wanted to share with you before we run out of time is I want to share with you a little bit about my journey. Because when we came to Lifestyles Unlimited, we thought it was going to take us 5 years to replace my income. I mean, that's the plan we laid out, and we were humming along, doing all the things we're supposed to do, and we did a lot better than we thought we were going to do, and we're okay with that. Trust me. I mean, that feeling of I don't have to go back and work there anymore was like, ah! And then I realized I had like 2 weeks of leave that I wasn't even able to take. So I gave my 2 weeks notice and I said, okay, here's what I'll do. I'm going to take leave. I'm going to burn up all my leave and I'll come back on the very last day and I'll work for that day and then I'll pack my stuff and I'll leave. Before the day was out, HR had contacted me and basically said, okay, here's the terms of your separation. We're going to separate you effective today, which was in the past, by the way, and we're just going to pay you a lump sum for your leave. And I said, well, that doesn't work for me. And they said, we don't care. So I said, okay, I guess that's the game plan. That's the offer, and that's what I'm going to work with. And I just packed my stuff up. And I asked my boss, do you really want me to stay in here until 4:30? Because I will. And she said, no, you really don't have to. And I said my goodbyes to everybody. And I never went back. I wrecked that job. But I left that job on my terms and conditions. I didn't leave that job like a lot of other Lifestyles Unlimited members have left jobs. What am I talking about? Okay, well, I'm talking about all those guys that work for corporate America that all of a sudden went to work one day and found out that, oh, there is a massive reduction in forces going on and you didn't make the cut. So all of a sudden, these guys find themselves in financial Armageddon because that good paying job, it just evaporated. It's gone. To include the medical benefits, to include whatever matching 401k you were getting, it's all gone. It all stops. But your expenses in your household, they don't stop. Those continue on. Whether you own or rent, it doesn't matter. There's a cost to operate your household. Now, it may not cost you as much money to operate your vehicle because, well, maybe you're not driving to the office anymore because they just laid you off. But that's not a cost savings. It really isn't, because now you got to scramble and you got to get back into the workforce and you got to get yourself a job, and hopefully you get the right job, or at least a job that stops the bleeding financially, right? Because that's what happens when you get laid off. And not everybody that gets laid off has massively incredible skill sets that everybody wants. It's not the case. I know 3 personal friends of mine. These are not Lifestyles Unlimited members, but all 3 of these guys work in the banking industry. One works in sales. He was like the top producer guy. What did they do with him? They laid him off. Another guy, well, he was in the software development side. Okay, I mean, he did all this like crypto, I don't know what he does, all this cloak and dagger stuff, right? Well, they decided they didn't need him anymore. So they laid him off. The third guy, he hasn't been laid off yet, but he has heard through the grapevine that management is considering a 20% reduction in forces. And his concern is he works in a business unit right now that really isn't showing any productivity because everybody that works in that business unit is being farmed out to other business units. So he's a little concerned that when he finishes doing whatever work he's doing at the other business unit, they may just go ahead and shellac him. When you become a real estate investor and you do it correctly, and you get yourself to that place of retirement, that stuff doesn't happen to you. It doesn't happen to you because your assets are paying you. You are owning and operating these assets, and whether you do the physical work of the operations or you have a team that does it for you, you're in control. The only one that could fire you from your real estate investing business is you. And trust me, you've got a good word with management, so there's nothing to worry about.
Del Walmsley on how to live the lifestyle.
Whether you believe that being wealthy has to do with producing results or not, you have to realize that all money comes from servicing other people. It's either producing an asset for them, producing a product for them, or giving them a service, providing service. That's the only reason somebody would pay you. That's the only way you earn money is people give it to you, other than governmental taxation of some form. But if you go back to the rich people that are billionaires, they've found out how to give people more benefit. So you say, why does a football player get paid $40 million a year? Well, because on any given Sunday, you've got 20 million people watching that game.
Go to lifestylesunlimitedworkshop.com. Get signed up for that free workshop, and let's get you going.
The Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult a professional regarding your personal investment needs. Nothing presented on the Lifestyles Unlimited Real Estate Investor Radio Show constitutes an endorsement, recommendation, offer, or solicitation to buy or sell any product or security.